bowls. Bowls, bowls, bowls. I got 6 bowls. Bowls, bowls. Gonna test some bowls today on tea practice. Hi, I'm Ree, and I've got lots of bowls here today because we're gonna test out a common teaism, which is that glazed teaware is all neutral. And whatever glazed teaware you use, it'll be okay because it's neutral, it's glazed, nothing will change. So just something that gets thrown out a lot, something that I heard when I was starting to get into tea. So I thought, oh, as long as it's porcelain or glass, it's going to be neutral. It's not going to affect the taste of my tea. I want to test that out today. Spoiler alert, they will taste different, but I've never actually done 6 different glazed neutral bowls together at the same time. So this should be a lot of fun, a lot of tasting. Let's see how it goes. Okay. Strand Nicholas, tea for me, please. Nicole, nice to see you. KRHEC, Whimsical Rhapsody, Delphine Gingras, Tyler from Hakuna Matata, nice to see you. Maddie B20, Ale Fantasy ST, Shiloh. All my favorite people already here. Look at all these bowls. I have at least 1 bowl for each person. Maybe not enough bowls. So we need more bowls? No, I'm just kidding. I think this is enough. So again, we're going to be testing out if it's really true that glazed materials are all going to taste the same. And I wanted to do this because when I started out doing tea, everyone was like, hey, as long as it's glass or porcelain or just kind of like a smooth ceramic, it's not going to affect the taste of tea. And this gets thrown a lot around in the community. And how I realized that it might be a little bit different is just from noticing that I gravitated towards different gaiwans. So even if all my gaiwans were this kind of like ceramic, you know, like it's porcelain, it's smooth, it shouldn't affect the taste of tea, I noticed that there were just some gaiwans that worked better for me than others. And then I realized that they tasted different, which is, of course, the shape of the teaware, but also the material. But talk is cheap. I think we should just test this. Let's get going. Okay, so the bowls I'm going to do today, wow, there's so many of them. I'm going to start with this one here. This is a painted glazed ceramic from the Philippines. Oh my god! So this is from my friend Sheryl from Teavolution PH. She is trying to create an artisanal ceramics movement in the Philippines, which is really, really, really amazing to me because I'm from the Philippines and people ask me a lot like, hey, are you Taiwanese or Chinese? You can't shut up about Taiwanese tea. I'm like, no, I'm actually Filipino. So yeah, what a treasure it is. She gifted this to me when I was there this summer. It's extremely light and I've never tested it side by side with another bowl. So I'm really excited about this one. It's painted. I can't tell you exactly what specific glaze it's painted with, but it is very smooth and something that you'd consider like a neutral kind of like glazed material. It's not rough at all. There's no exposed clay. So light, thin walls with a dark colored painted on glaze with it. Second one. This can be a treasure too. This is an IKEA bowl. This is an IKEA 365 bowl. It's part of their line that is always available. So you can be like tea curious and have an IKEA bowl. This bowl is like $3. It's made in Thailand. I thought all Sweden. What? I thought IKEA was Swedish. Anyway, this is made in Thailand. The last time I tested this bowl, I looked it up and it's made of a material called Feldspar. It's a different kind of porcelain. Anyway, it's different, okay? And you'll see that the different bowls are different shapes as well. So no worries. They are going to affect the way that the bowls will taste a little bit, but I tried to select relatively similar sized bowls. God, I don't want to put this out, but I will. I wonder if someone can count how many times I say bowls in this live. It's going to be an embarrassing amount. Don't do it. I just said it out loud. Third bowl. This is a Taiwanese glazed ceramic bowl. Shiloh, if you're still here, I wish you were here to help me describe these. It's a bowl. It's beautiful. It's quite heavy. And you can see that there are iron speckles on it. I'm not a ceramicist. It's from Taiwan. This is one of my favorite bowls. I find that it tastes really good with tea, so we'll see how it performs today. American Potter, this one's a New Mexico clay with a glaze on top. You can see the rough clay on the bottom, but this is here glazed. And again, basically, it's stuff that is smooth. All of these bowls are smooth. So it's the kind of teaware that people say, hey, as long as it's smooth and not rough, like Yixing clay tends to be, then it's gonna be neutral, okay? That's what's in common here. This is a Taiwanese wood-fired bowl. This glaze isn't painted on. This is from the wood firing. So another one that's supposed to be neutral. And then finally, a glass bowl that I like to use for fruit. But I want to throw glass in there because both glass and ceramic are those two materials that get thrown around a lot. So yeah, any questions? Initial apologies to all the ceramicists of the world being like, what is this girl talking about? This bowl is blue and this bowl is brown. It's great. TJ, Matthew, Laura Sperso, Esther Blanc, 702 Nelly. Nice to see you guys. Avi, I saw you there too. Thanks for joining me for this test. We're going to get started. I'm going to decide not to preheat any of these. So these will not be preheated. That will affect the heat retention thing going on. Remember we talked about this a couple days ago. If you don't preheat your bowls, they're not going to brew tea as intensely or as well. But I don't want to waste too much water preheating all of these. So as long as you keep your experiment consistent, I think it's okay. So all of these are preheated cold. Alright. Just putting it out there again, we're not preheating these. We are going to use the same tea and same quantity of tea for all of these. So we're going to use this guy. This is the Gold Roast, which is my favorite from Houjicha.co. It's a lighter roast of Houjicha. It's a little bit higher grade. It's a little bit more soft, a little bit more delicate. Really well-rounded Houjicha. And I really want to use something a little bit more dark and heavy, just because I like to bowl brew, and now that it's cold, I want something more satisfying. So yeah, that's going to be our tea of the day that we're going to choose. Hopefully you guys drink Houjicha at home, so you can see how your favorite tea will perform in different bowls. What's our bowl count now? How many times has reset bowl in this live? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Okay. Let's get started. So, I'm not adjusting for the volume of these, but I will be weighing out how much water I pour into each. I'm going to use, ooh, this is too heavy, so I'm going to use a little guy here. How's 3 grams sound for you guys? 3 grams okay? No, let's use 2 grams, because I don't want to use too much tea. This is precious. I don't want to use too much tea. So 2 grams for each bowl, and I'm going to pour 100 grams of water. And 100 grams of water is, conveniently, 100 milliliters of water. So it should work out really well. And why I wanted to do this experiment is because there's a lot of fetishization of clays in the tea world. Like, oh my god, which Yixing clay do you have? Do you have purple clay or red clay? And we get really, really into which different clays people have. But then at the end of the day, we're like, oh yeah, my homemade clay like makes the light notes of this tea guan yin really pop. But you can use whatever porcelain you want to brew whatever, because it all tastes the same. I'm like, no, if you're gonna get nerdy about clay that's unglazed, have you tested your glazed clays? And then I didn't realize for a long time that the specific gaiwan that I was using was affecting the taste of the tea that I was drinking. And that's why I do these experiments, so that I'm not aware of what's going on. That's why we do these experiments. It's not to be overly complicated. It's not to make things too crazy. Like, at the end of the day, I want to enjoy tea. But the more aware we are of the factors that go into the tea, the more confident we get when we actually start brewing. So if something's wrong, we're less likely to blame the tea itself or ourselves. Like, I'm just not a good brewer. If you're at a friend's house and you're using their water and their, crappy IKEA, hey, no, it's not crappy, their really well-made IKEA bowl, then you're not going to be surprised when the tea that you brought that you love so much tastes a little bit different. God, what am I doing? That's not a bowl. That's a saucer. Okay, catching up to questions. Whimsical Rhapsody, where'd you get what? Which bowl were you asking about? Because all of these are really awesome, awesome bowls. I use them for different purposes, and they all taste different. And what's making them taste different, and if there's a ceramicist in the house still, maybe you can explain it to us. But from what I understand, the chemicals that make this bowl brown and beautiful and kind of like matte shiny, not quite eggshell. What finish is that? It's like semi-shiny. We'll call it semi-shiny. Versus this here, which is light blue with like iron spots on it. Those are different chemical processes that are happening. And because it's different for each bowl, there's different components on the surface of the bowls when we brew that react with the tea, and that's why it tastes different. I've heard stuff about how like there's ionic stuff going on, like positive and negative ions from different chemicals and compounds, which I don't understand. I wish I did, and I would really love to get recommendations on a chemistry for tea people book. It's a oddly specific book. Chemistry for Dummies. Let me know if there's a really good chemistry for dummies book that I can get into, so that we can explain why there's so much variation between colors and glazes and textures and stuff like that. Yeah. Almost done here. Bowl number 6. So for those of you who are just popping in, we're testing if the same tea will taste different in 6 different glazed materials. And if you're at home, why not just pop up like your bowl that you brew in usually, and then another bowl. Brew 2 different teas that you know pretty well in them. You don't even have to like weigh it out if you don't want to. Just eyeball it and see if there's a difference in the experience, in the taste, the flavor, the aroma, everything. Okay? I can't weigh out the water on my scale because apparently the scale will only take until a couple 100 grams. So unfortunately, I can't weigh the water out like I wanted to, but I'll just eyeball it to make sure that I at least get a similar amount of water in each bowl when I start testing this out. Sheryl from New Orden, you're doing good. I hope that in the last 3 minutes that I've been weighing out, you don't want to retract that statement, talking about stuff. Marker from Steep Tea, nice to see you. Glad to see you here too. New Orden, maybe it's best not to get into chemistry of clay, glaze, and firing effect until after the test. True. I agree. Let's see. Gigs in the Garden, nice to see you. Reed 80, nice to see you. Nick from Slick Neville, Turtley Tats Tea and Tood. And Kalpa Vrikshta. Welcome. We're just going to get started here. You know what? They just experientially, just subjectively, before we get into the brewing process, right? Houjicha, when you think Houjicha, what do you think about? Houjicha is a roasted green tea from Japan, right? It's fill in the blank. It's warm, it's toasty. For me, it's very aromatic. It's very pleasant. It's homey. It's a tea that I like to brew during the winter because it's just satisfying, you know? So think about which of these bowls to you looks the most kind of appropriate for the experience that you'd like to get for this Houjicha and for the tea in general, okay? Like, and as much as we want to be, hey, let's focus on taste. Taste is first. I agree that taste is first. I like to think that way when it comes to tea. But we also, whether we like it or not, are affected by what we see and sense and feel. So the visual aspect, the tactile aspect of these bowls is a little bit different. And I would say, I mean, Houjicha in this glass bowl just looks like sticks. Like I I mowed my lawn, and then I put some sticks in a bowl. So the glass bowl is just not doing it for me, experientially. But something that's already rustic, like this wood-fired bowl, look how, like, the golden, like, inside, and then it's got this rich hue to it, and then the Houjicha just looks very at home in this rustic bowl. So, yeah, just for, you know, to award some points, I'd like the wood-fired bowl, and also the really thin Philippine bowl from Sheryl in the Philippines, from Teavolution. More importantly, let's go taste this shebang, though. We're gonna use artesian water at 195 plus degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm gonna try to brew them at about the same amount. I'm gonna read Shiloh's comments here. Ash glaze carboncino effect vitrifies at high temperatures. The higher you fire a glaze or clay, the darker it will get. Interesting. Pigmentation in clay will darken because higher temps burn out the intensity of the pigments. See, I didn't know that. Is that true too, depending on what paint you use? Because this is a bowl that I made. If you notice, I'm not using it for this experiment. I made this bowl. I didn't make it, actually. I just painted it, so I can't really say I made it. But they made us pick a bowl that we really liked and then paint it, and then we Raku fired it. And the only difference between each bowl was that we painted it a different glaze paint. God, I don't know how to talk ceramics. I know how to taste them, though, so let's get to that. Same pour, making sure to wet all of the leaves. Okay. I'm just using a count in my head to determine how much water I'm pouring out. These will smell different already. These smell amazing! It's like a fireworks show, but Houjicha. Like, look at all these aromas going off. That was such a stupid metaphor. Look at this fireworks show, but Houjicha. It's like, wow, aroma there, brown sugar here, woodsy there, umami there. There's just so much going on and I can't keep up. Okay. Wow. I'm so excited to smell these. That smells different already. Dude, guys, these are all smelling different. Wow, these are all smelling extremely different. Okay, not extremely, I get it, they're all still Houjicha, but there's differences already without even tasting the tea. Okay, alright. I hope I'm ready for this tasting thing going on. I'm gonna let them sit for a little bit before I start describing the aromas and taste too quickly. Ty Loves Tea, good evening to you too. Canister Pellants Malku, Camellia Blends. Nice to see you guys. Strand Nicholas, Smell-O-Vision cannot come soon enough. True. I'm so excited, it's like Christmas. I didn't even know I was giving myself a Christmas present. I get to try 6 different Houjichas. Spoiler alert, because they're gonna taste different. And I know it. And that's why I'm a big proponent of buying larger quantities of tea rather than tiny samples, because when you just buy a sample, like a 5-gram sample, you only have one opportunity, when you could be trying it 6 different ways and really have 6 different experiences. So, yeah. It's like Christmas. Okay, so let's describe just the aroma, okay? Just the aroma. And Esther Blanc, yes, it is definitely related to also the shape of the bowls. So I'm trying to get my nose in there. I know I don't have a big nose, but if I'm getting my nose in there instead of up here, I'm getting less of the effect of the shapes of the bowls. But absolutely, there is a difference in the shapes of the bowls. That's going to be affecting the way that the tea tastes and smells a little bit. So factor it in, okay? We're factoring it in. So that just smells very neutral, sweet. That's what I expect from Houjicha. It's very friendly. But actually, I think it's lacking a little bit of smokiness, this one here. It's not as toasty. It's more sweet. From let's number these, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So 1, 2, 3 in the back, 4, 5, 6 in the front. So very sweet. So this one here is more toasty. This one here is more balanced. I mean, like, they smell different. I can't smell this one as much. That one's more toasty again. And don't worry, I'm going to taste really soon. See, this one's the only one that smells fermenty. I almost get like a Sheryl note from that. And I picked that up from the very first smell through as well. There's something fermenty about that. It's the only one. This one's more smoky again. Okay, let's like taste and stuff. Alright, let's get going. So bowl number 1, the Taiwanese ceramic bowl. It's blue. Okay, so that one's sweet. It's smooth. And then it's important not just to talk about the flavor notes, but also the texture and how it feels, okay? Soft, smooth, I get this immediate, like, it's so relaxing. Of course, it is the first tea that's in the lineup that I'm cracking into. But there's nothing off about it. It's a very balanced, kind of like rounded flavor profile going on. And it's what I expect from this bowl, because I just know this bowl is very dependable. It brews tea really, really straightforwardly and well. Which is why it's my favorite bowl. Not just for the aesthetics, but I know it reacts this way. Next one, the glass. Number 2. I'm guessing this will be the most different out of all of them, by the way. I'm not sure, but let's make a hypothesis. This will be the most different out of all of them. The most obvious difference between this bowl, number 2, and number 1, is the texture. The texture is thin, and the tea is a little bit more sour. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, thin and sour. It's a little bit different. It doesn't have as much depth as the first one, and there's a drying sensation I'm getting from the tea that it wasn't there in the very first bowl. Third bowl. The third bowl has the lightest flavor so far, which is counterintuitive, because you would think that if I was going in this direction, this one would have the most time to steep. But even when I was going through, I noticed the aroma was quite light on this tea from this bowl. I'm putting my concentration face. I don't even want to look up at the cell phone, because I don't want to see my concentration face. Dude. Yeah, it just, there's a lacking, it's not as poppy, it's not as toasty, but the texture is so rich that it's still satisfying. So I don't want to call it flavorless, because sometimes it's not just about the flavor, but that just comes back so rich and so satisfying and warm that I actually like it. But I'm surprised by how little flavor there is in this bowl for the Houjicha. Already super different, okay? Let's hop off to the New Mexico bowl. This is from an American potter. This is Mark Foster from Albuquerque. He makes really good stuff. This is my camping bowl. I like to bring it because it's really nice and sturdy with really thick walls. Wow, that's interesting. It's the first time I've gotten roughness, almost like you bit into like a stem, like a vegetable stem. You know when you're eating and when you're cooking and you are stupid enough to put like raw vegetables in your mouth because I'm hungry, and if there's that kind of like raw veggie taste. That's the first time I've tasted it from this whole setting. Bowl number 4 has a raw vegetable taste. And again, these are all the same teas. Same weight, same pour, same water. But this one has like a raw veggie quality to it. It's almost bitter. So far, that's my least favorite combination of tea and bowl, which is strange because I actually really, really like this bowl for just general brewing, but just not doing favors for the Houjicha right now. Weird. And the texture is not good on it either. Okay, the IKEA bowl. The IKEA, if you're around, if you need someone to sponsor, I'm your girl. I use a lot of IKEA stuff. Is the IKEA person in yet? No? Okay, it sucks. I'm just kidding. It's actually pretty good. So I would say the IKEA bowl is actually the most similar in effect to the first bowl, the Taiwanese glazed bowl. It's soft, it's sweet, it's a little bit toastier though, and it's also a little bit drier than the Taiwanese ceramic bowl. And then the aftertaste is actually quite nice on it. And I'm going to taste through all of these again because it's not quite fair that I'm going like in order, allowing these teas in the front to steep a little bit longer. It's impossible for us to have a perfect experiment design casually like this, but you just gotta make sure you factor it in. I'm being so serious. God, we're just drinking leaves. Always remember that. You're just drinking leaves, okay? This is just for fun. Why? Why does it not... Oh, it's sharp. So this is the first one that I've tasted that it just attacks you a little bit at the very beginning. I almost wish I could draw shapes for these. Yeah, Houjicha, I want it to be like round and soft and like a blanket and a little bit toasty. Like a marshmallow. A toasted marshmallow is roasted, but it's still soft. Like it's got that bite because it's burnt to bits, but it's still soft. And this is like the marshmallow that's toasty and soft, but then you poked out the stick a little bit, so then you hurt your tongue because you bit a little bit of the skewer, Like, I don't like that combination of sharpness in the front and then the toasty, warm Houjicha flavor profile on the bottom. And all this to say, they taste different. They absolutely do taste different. Now, if you blindfolded me, would I be able to tell which one was which? Maybe. I'm not sure. I would like to see if that's an experiment that I could do. But I would definitely be able to tell you that they came from different materials just because of the textural qualities of them. They're just so different. And what you're doing here is it's almost like you're putting a filter on a photo, like on Instagram, like when you scroll through your photos when you post on Instagram. It's like it's trying to figure out which specific small adjustments fit the best with what you're working with already. And of course the tea is awesome because they all taste pretty good. But which bowl will accentuate just a little bit more the qualities that are already there to make a better tasting cup with what you got. You know, like how do you get that to match up? And so far, I would say this bowl here, because of how satisfying it is. And let me check this one again. It's so good. It's just so good. And this one here. Bowl number 1 and bowl number 3. And bowl number 1 has the flavor, the sweetness, the balance. It's just so harmonious. Like, it's just Houjicha, and then you make it better. That's what you want, right? Like, you don't want to take away from the flavor of the tea. You don't want blue to become purple. You want it to just be blue in this best possible blue. And then with bowl number 3, honestly, the flavor is nothing to write home about. I would say the bowl actually mutes the flavor a little bit because you're not getting that same sweetness that you'd expect from a Houjicha. But the texture is just so full. It's just so... It's like a blanket. It's just a blanket made of jello, but warm. That's disgusting sounding, but I mean, like, it's just all texture, okay? And a lot of us will emphasize different things in our tea. Like, some people like texture, some people like flavor, some people like aroma. I personally like aroma, but you're not gonna see me pick tea because it smells so good. Like, it's gotta taste and feel a certain way from me, which is why I'm highlighting these things for myself. And then the worst one, let's go through the other 4 again. That's astringent. That's just dry. Why? Why is that drying? Okay. And then all the friendly, like... It's just not good. I'm sorry. See, that one's better, okay? So it's still... This is bitter. So bowl number 4 is bitter. Bowl number 2 is astringent. From Sheryl. Is tea number 6 astringent or bitter? Let's test it out. Tea number 6 has almost no astringency. So there's a astringency and bitterness gets thrown a lot together. And bitterness is like the taste of something being bitter. Astringent is like when you lick a piece of chalk. Don't lick pieces of chalk, but when you have had, like, when you've done it, that's what it feels like. It's like that dry sensation. The same thing happens when you eat persimmons, and they're not ripe yet. They get really like cat tongue. And bitterness and astringency happen a lot together. When you overbrew green tea, your tongue is dry, and it also tastes bitter. That's why they get kind of conflated with each other. But a tea can be bitter without being astringent. Like, taste bitter without being all cat tonguey. And you can get the cat tongue sensation without it being bitter. I wish there was a tasteometer, because this one is dry and astringent. This one's just bitter. And then this one is also just bitter. There's almost no astringency. The texture is actually pretty okay. Like, I like how bright it is, but it's just so sharp. It makes the tea harsh, and I don't like that about this bowl. And then let's go back to the IKEA bowl. One more chance for my IKEA representative to shout out, and, you know, you could have the whole tea world drinking IKEA bowls right now. If only you just spoke up. Now's your chance. No. No. I'm just kidding. And this is where I want to make a point. My cheap IKEA bowl, in my opinion, brews better Houjicha than the wood-fired bowl that I got from my teacher in Taiwan. Okay? This is a $150 bowl. This is a $3 bowl. which one brews this particular tea better? In my opinion, it's the 365 IKEA bowl. Because something about it just matches better with the profile of the tea. I don't know what the chemistry is. I wish I did. But it's smoother, it's softer, it's friendlier. It just works better. Now think about this, like, you know, as a exercise. This is Houjicha, right? Houjicha is already toasty. It's got some grit to it. It's a roasted green tea, right? What if you took something really, really soft like High Mountain Oolong? Would we have the same results or different results? What does High Mountain Oolong need to be more of itself? What do you need to take away? What do you need to put in to do better? And personally speaking, this is where I've tested it before. I like the taste of the Woodfired bowl with High Mountain Oolong because it gives a little bit more oomph to it. It makes it a little bit brighter and sharper. So like something that's a little bit boring, like it's buttery, it's sweet, but it's a little bit boring, gets that little oomph from the Wood-fired bowl. But Houjicha, especially the gold roast from Houjicha.co, I like it because it's got some complexity to it already, so it just works better, okay? So overall, if I had to rank these, God, like, can I just combine these two together? Because I want this texture and then I want this taste. I would say, God, like, I want to make these tied because the autumny colors of this bowl plus the Houjicha is just so, like, perfect. You know, it's like a marketing team designed it. It just works out. But I have to give it to the Taiwanese glazed bowl. It's just so harmonious. And when I throw out the word harmonious, it's just everything is working together really well. So I can't take it away from this. This one is the best one. And this one a close second. This is just texture. Worst ones. The worst one is probably the glass bowl. It makes a thin, sour Houjicha. And you don't want a thin, sour Houjicha, you want a thick, sweet Houjicha. So it just goes the opposite of what I wanted to do, so I think this is the worst. Followed by the wood-fired bowl. So I'd go best, second best, third best, fourth, the New Mexico bowl, fifth, the wood-fired bowl, and then sixth. And regardless of whether or not you believe my notes, or whatever the hell it means, or if your notes might taste different from mine, because maybe you like thin, sour Houjicha, I don't know, props to you, but I like my Houjicha sweet and brown sugary and stuff. It's up to you. Do you. But they're different, okay? Like, they're different, and whoever told me, I don't even know who it was, I don't care. Whoever told me back then that glazed teaware all taste the same, so don't worry about it, I want to go back to them and be like, I know you're just trying to make this easier for me. But then what about those teas that I bought, and then I never knew it was my accidental wrong choice of teaware that was affecting the taste of the tea? Why the glass matters is because a lot of us use these guys for brewing tea, right? A lot of us use glass teapots and glass pitchers to brew tea. And what's happening there is, without us knowing, the glass is actually making a difference in the taste of the tea that we're not aware of. And again, I'm not doing this to complicate it. I'm not doing this to be like, every single time we make tea, it's got to be perfect. We got to weigh it out. We got to do a side-by-side before we can enjoy something. It's just the awareness of it. So that if something's wrong, you'll actually have the ability to change something because there is a factor at play there that you may or may not be controlling for at that moment. And then it's fun, because now I'm like, man, these are my Houjicha bowls now. I've brewed Houjicha in this bowl without noticing that it's grassy. And I still enjoyed it. That doesn't mean it's ruined, but now I know to get maximum enjoyment from my tea, I can just pick the right bowl and turn like a 6 out of 7 out of 10 tea to like a 8 or 9 out of 10 tea. And it takes no effort at all whatsoever, but a little bit of research and practice to do this. So yeah, you know, what I want you to do is to do this with glazed teaware at home, especially glass stuff. Um, so, and just test to see if you do recognize a difference. Be patient with your palette though, because they are still the same tea. I'm not gonna like pretend that this is like, oh my god, like they're completely different teas. I mean, they're different enough that if I served these different bowls to different people, I think they would have different reactions. I think so. But if you're at home and you're like, I don't know, there's not that much of a difference, do it one more time with a tea that you know better, or do it one more time with a tea that you it just tastes different, okay? So that you can just start seeing the differences. Because at this point, I'm not a ceramicist. I talk like a fifth grader when it comes to chemistry. I failed my chemistry AP test. My chemistry teacher told me the second year I had him, you had a lot of potential, but you... I still remember this. You have a lot of potential, but you just didn't do good enough in chemistry. I don't know what is going on with these bowls. I know the basics because I love tea and I want to understand, but I don't know chemically what's going on within each bowl. But because I've done these experiments so much, I've gotten so used to tasting from each of these that I almost like, you know, instinctively know which tea will do better in which bowls. And I know if I'm just trying to impress someone, if I'm just trying to brew a solid tea, for some reason this particular bowl just makes a really round, friendly, not that bad, just good filter. For y'all on Instagram, you know there's one filter that you're like, oh, I don't want to think about it. I'm just going to use my default filter that's really good. This is the one. You know, this is the one that I don't gotta think about it. It's gonna make good tea. Now I know this one's just textural, and then this one will make things thin, and it depends on the tea, but you'll get used to it. And I know it's a lot, but then it's fun, and you get to taste hey dude, look, I only have one bag, but then I made 6 teas out of one bag. Magic! You don't gotta get 6 different samples. Just enjoy the same tea 6 different ways. And you have 6 different experiences already that you can play around with, which is just a lot of fun. Okay? Going back to comments. Esther Blanc. Let's try it with an oolong. I do want to try it with an oolong. I don't know if I have enough time though. Shiloh. My observation is that the wood-fired bowl is more vitrified and sealed. It maintains more even and constant heat retention and draws out more deep aromatic compounds. Yes, so this bowl we know is heavier and has better heat retention. I'm not sure about the porosity of it. It's pretty smooth down the inside. There are parts of it that are quite rough, so you would know better than I would. But there is a glazing on it from the vitrification of the wood ash. So that's what I can say about that. But even then, different wood-fired bowls from the same maker have tasted differently. So I'm the stupid person who has 4 different cups from the same maker, even if they're all wood-fired, because the way that it glazed in the inside all made tea that tastes different, okay? So, yeah, this is a strange one here. Would I say it's more aromatic? Yeah, I would actually say it is more aromatic than, say, this one. To answer Shiloh's question or comment. Yeah, you're right. So, on the palate, when I drink this, it is sharp, but there's more aroma going on, which is quite interesting to me. While this one here, which is not wood-fired, is all texture. And not as much aroma. So that's interesting. I mean, gosh, okay. Esther Blanc, what is bowl number 1 made of again, and where is it from? I wish I knew. I don't know what it's made of. It's a Taiwanese bowl from Song Tea from a long time ago. This is from like 2014. I think I bought it for myself for my birthday. They had like 20 of these at the shop in San Francisco. And I probably, I'm sure Peter rolled his eyes at me at one point without me looking, but I went through every single bowl in the shop looking for the one with the perfect pattern for me. The right amount of blue, the right amount of sky blue, the right amount of white, and then it's got this beautiful unglazed foot, which maybe would tell you a little bit more about the clay if you're a ceramicist. Okay? If I'm just using oxidized versus reduced terminology from Japanese like clay firing, it looks like it's oxidized clay. It's orangey. I don't know. But I've just always known this particular bowl brews really consistent. I've never found a tea that doesn't taste good in this bowl. It tastes good with matcha. It tastes good with white tea. I like brewing my favorite white tea in this bowl, Wild Mountain White. Oolong is beautiful in it. Black tea, just everything is really, really good in this bowl. So, I have this dependable bowl. Okay, I don't know what it's made of though. If you would like to DM me, I could look it up and ask them about it. Sheryl from Web Orden looks like white stoneware clay light reduction. I'm so glad that you're here during this live. Otherwise, I would be shrugging. Here it is again. It's got what they call luscious. It's got a lot of glaze up here. It feels like there's a lot of glaze going on it. And in comparison, the walls of the vessel down the bottom feel a lot thinner than what is actually on top. So for me, it feels like there is quite a generous amount of glaze on the pot itself, or on the bowl itself. So, yeah, they taste different, dudes. Gosh. I'm gonna go through this one more time with a white cup, just to see if I can eliminate some of the differences in the shapes, because like you guys mentioned, there is going to be a difference in the shape of the bowls, and that's affecting the way that the tea tastes differently as well. Even the lip of the bowl. Again, all of this to say, don't believe it when someone says, if it's glazed, it's not going to make a difference. It's going to make a difference. Is it going to change the world level of difference? Is it going to make pink into blue? No. Does it make as much of a difference as their fancy Yixing teapot versus, yes. Okay. It's going to make a difference. If you're the kind of person who's like, should I get purple clay or red clay? Then you're also the person who'll be wanting to ask the question, should I get glass? Or should I get white stoneware? Or should I get a New Mexico pot piece? Or should I get a Philippine piece? Because it's going to taste different. It's going to taste different. Okay. I'm going to go in reverse order to taste these. And then let me know if you have any questions. I'm just going to go through and see if I can taste from the bowls outside of them, if anything changes. Now, notes. Another interaction is happening now that I'm transferring from the bowls into another cup. Something else is happening. So, as much as possible, if you want to get the true character of the tea, I personally like bowl brewing because you're having as little change from material to material that affects the overall flavor and experience of the tea when you drink straight from a bowl. Because if you're like, oh, I'm going to pour into this pitcher, and I'm going to pour into a bowl, and you're doing so many transferences, the temperature is dropping, aeration might be happening, so you're getting different... Tea's changing, okay? Tea's changing. So questions. Delphine Gingras. I never tried bowl tea. What tea works best? I know it's not exactly your topic here, but it looks like a fun method. I bowl brew all the time. Any tea works well. Even Houjicha like this. I know there's a lot of sticks I've been like fishing out of my mouth. But if you just, blow on the surface, if you got a little extra time, And you said? No sticks. I don't know why I decided to use the glass one for that, because that's the one I don't like. God, why? Teas that open up really well and don't have a lot of debris are even more lovely to have as in a bowl. So Taiwanese High Mountain Oolong, the rolled whole leaf Chinese oolongs, old tree sheng that isn't broken up too much. Really lovely to be bowl brewed. White tea is the bomb when it's bowl brewed. Whatever you like. Just put it in a bowl, test it first to make sure that the bowl tastes good with the tea. If it's a ceramic IKEA bowl, it should be fine. But only this one, okay? Look, this is also from IKEA. It's a different collection. The 365 one is better. This one sucks, okay? This one makes things sour. Test it. Anyway, God, I can't even drink tea without blabbing. Yeah, bowl number 6 has that bitterness going on, but no astringency, okay? That was one of the bowls I didn't really like the effects of. Going backwards now, just to get a... This is personally just for me now. I want to get a better feel for what these bowls are doing. Kaori Wonderland, it's nice to see you. It's been a hot minute. Sheryl from New Orden, I agree, this is making me curious to utilize this method. Which method are you speaking of? Bowl brewing? Bowl brewing is great. If you're lazy like me, it's wonderful. It's because I do stupid stuff like experiments whenever I have extra time. So when I don't have extra time, I'm like, screw what I want. I just put it in a bowl and brew it. I'm so sorry, tea gods. Like, sometimes the $150 wood-fired bowl just gets beaten out by the $3 IKEA bowl. This is one of these times. And I'm okay with it. You know, like, I'm totally fine with that. Just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's going to be better every single time. And nice aftertaste. This thing has a really good... Ugh. Why is the aftertaste so good from this bowl? IKEA! Give me your representative right now. Vegetable. Oof. Vegetable. It's interesting. Yeah, so the New Mexico bowl is the only one that tasted grassy, like a vegetable. The only one, okay? This is the same tea, guys. How is it the same tea? I don't even need 6 different samples. I just gotta brew the same tea 6 different times. And that's gonna appease my monkey brain. The bowl method, yes. Bowl method is just so fun. It's just so low-key. It's just so wonderful. I just love... Props to this bowl. This bowl is just so wonderful. Really, really great texture. And then shout outs to my friend Sheryl from Teevolution PH. If you're interested in ceramicists, you know, like, and anyone else who's interested in the evolution of ceramics in the world in general, my friend Sheryl from Teevolution PH, she's from the Philippines. I met her this summer. She's one of the very first fellow tea folks like us who is trying to do pottery in the Philippines. I'm from the Philippines too, and what she pointed out to me is that we have a really rich pottery culture in the Philippines, but no pottery coming out from there. And she's like, we make tea! I mean, you know, we brew tea, but then we're using other things. But we make pottery, we're not using Filipino pottery. So she's out to develop a artisanal pottery culture there. And just like with tea, no matter how excellent Chinese pottery is, or Japanese pottery, and I love Chinese, Japanese, Taiwanese pottery. Most of my pots and ceramics are from those countries. Because every locale is different, every country and region has something to bring to the ceramics table that is infinitely interesting. And I think the more we can support those specific ceramics practices, the more interesting, fascinating, you know, diverse teaware that we'll get, and the more we'll be able to do these side-by-sides. Because now, if you think about these, For any of you who are musicians, you know, my boyfriend's a guitar player. Each one is like a pedal that you can use to change the sound of your tea. It's the same tea, just a different filter that you're putting on it. And as tea brewers, I know you make really, really good tea already, but it's that extra oomph that you can put to make a good tea fantastic. Or a fantastic tea just fucking mind-blowing. And just to make sure that your really precious teas don't get taken away by like a bad teaware choice. So yeah, American pottery culture, the Philippine pottery culture, anywhere that's just starting to come into ceramics just means more options for us as tea folks. Because it'll be different clay, different techniques. What's cool about these new regions that are starting to do more tea ceramics, more teaware for the first time, is that they're trying out techniques that we've never seen in the traditional areas. So it's just fun. So support ceramics. It's really, really, I just love it. And you can see the personality of the ceramicist in each piece. These are from both my friends, and I can see the personality of each person in the teaware that they make. It just gives me extra joy. More joy. More and more tea joy. I'm gonna skip this. I'm not gonna make the same mistake. I'm gonna go back to the Taiwan. Bad stuff. Luckily, none of my friends made this bowl, so I don't gotta trash talk any of my friends. Shiloh also varied firing type vessels, wood, gas, oxidized, raku, glaze, unglaze, etc. Yes, tea tastes different in different bowls. And the thing that your ceramicist does for you and your bowl will affect the taste of your tea. That's so good. The flavor is just so good. It's just... I can't make this up. Okay? Like, I can't make up really pretending that they all taste different if they didn't taste different. They all taste different. So, like, in short, go test it out. And then you tell me what you find. If you don't find a result, tell me too. Maybe I'm crazy. I want whatever she's smoking, you know, but... they're different. And what I wanted to pay attention to is that we put so much emphasis on Yixing clay, Chinese clay, like only the clay pots make a difference. And then we forget that our accessories, our pictures will make a difference too. So just test it out, yo. Final questions. A.M. Taylor, nice to see you. Just wrapping up here. This has been really fun. I wish I could do another round with Oolong. But you can do another round with Oolong. Be my guest. It doesn't have to be me, you know? I'm already having lots of fun with these Houjichas here. Let me know what topic you'd like to test tomorrow, if you'd like. We could do Oolong for these bowls tomorrow at 4 p.m. PST. I leave for Taiwan on Friday, so what I'm trying to do a fundamentals of tea test every day until I leave to get all of my experimentation out before I leave for Taiwan again. It's gonna be my third time back to Taiwan this year. And yeah, I just want to do teaware experiments with you, tea experiments with you once a day until I leave. So let me know if you have any suggestions. I invite you to tell me them tonight so I can tell you a little bit earlier this time what experiments we'll be doing tomorrow. And then again, if you'd like to trade notes with me more in detail, Instagram is fantastic. But sometimes I miss out on the DMs and posts that people post just because I'm just chasing hashtags. I don't know where to find them. So I have a Discord link for the Tea Curious Discord on my profile. I don't know what Discord is. I found out about it like 3 weeks ago. But it's a really cool way for you to connect with other people who are talking kind of in-depth and casually about tea. Serious about tea without being too friggin' serious about it. So I invite you to chat with us and hang out with us there. And then I'll see you tomorrow at the same time, 4 p.m. PST. Let me know your ideas. I appreciate you guys. And yeah, you're welcome for letting me justify your teaware addiction. Okay, just watch your budget. Don't be like me. have all these beautiful bowls and no money. No, this is really awesome. Like, I love my life. This is great. Teaware is so wonderful, and I eat really well too. Anyway, good night from Las Vegas. I really appreciate you guys. Goodbye!